Check is on. Everything looks right. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Divided America. I am George Siska. I completely forgot to talk about January 6th last week. How? Now, if I had a producer in my ear, like another professional would, they would have reminded me. By the way, you're producing a live show on the anniversary of one of the horrific attacks on our U.S. Capitol. So I talked with some police officers recently, this weekend, yesterday. Actually, I had a conversation yesterday with an MP. We had great off the record conversations. But what I can say that there is way too much disinformation being out there spewed by what's considered conservative news, right? I the let's set the record straight. Democrats in general do not want police hurt. I can't even believe I have to say this. Like, it was honestly surprising to hear these police officers think like that's what Democrats think, right? That's not that's I we don't want violence in general, right? Like, I would say Democrats in general don't want violence, right? I do read Fox News every once in a while, right? I don't see this. I don't see this being said into their brains, right? Like, I'm speaking directly right now to police officers, Republicans, friends, right? Do you really think the majority of a political party wants violence? Well, maybe not Democrats. Well, some of the actions of these ICE officers are bringing out the worst in people, right? The worst because they're scared. Fear is motivating. It's motivating a groundswell of people to propel what they deem invaders. And why wouldn't they? Right? I never thought the Tarkin doctrine would be introduced in America. A lot of you know I have a Star Wars poster behind me. There is a wonderful yet not wonderful Tarkin quote that I'm going to be posting here on the YouTube feed. So please, just take a quick look at it. Here it is.
The rebellion will continue to gain a support in the Imperial Senate.
The Imperial Senate will no longer be of any concern to us. I have just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the Council permanently. The last remnants of the old Republic have been swept away.
It's impossible. How will the Emperor maintain control without the bureaucracy?
The regional governors now have direct control over their territories. Fear will keep the local systems in line. Fear of...
Not bad, right? Now, life wasn't like this in Minnesota 2 months ago. Just 2 months ago. It was trying to rebuild its police department and its trust in this police department. Maybe some of you remember George Floyd 2020, 6 years ago. They've gone through some police officers in that department. So they're already dealing with enough problems as it is. And now they got ICE exacerbating their problems, right? Because now the police department has to deal with extra 911 calls. They have to deal with all the extra harassment. Now, I would be scared too, right? Like, if I had ICE agents outside my house or in my neighborhood, I'd be pretty scared, right? We have armed, undertrained goons on the streets. The training is a huge part of the policing problem. Like, it comes down to many of our problems, right? Like, there's a show called The Wire, a show primarily about policing in Baltimore, and it's now a required watch for sociological classes. And it showed us this training deficit in detail, right? We're talking a show 26 years ago that was produced, maybe even more, 30 years ago. There are too many clips to show. Like, I'd love to show as many clips as possible here. But there is a character named Herc. He's a police officer. And it really demonstrates his failing upwards, and the shitty training is the SOP for government work. It's scary stuff to watch. Now, Renee Good's murderer, Jonathan Ross, is trained. He's well trained. And he's apparently been working for Homeland Security for over a decade. He's a Iraq war vet like me. I he can't use any sort of undertraining defense, right? He can't. It's just it. And as a former FAA official, I know all too well about the non-existent training for certain positions. My former position in the FAA has zero comprehensive training, zero. I took up the task of training new employees on programs. So when I got there, I expected an onboarding. I expected some sort of training. There was no checklist, no nothing for the FAA. It's just, here you go, learn on the job. Imagine learning on the job as an ICE agent. Now, I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but that seems to be what they're doing because they don't seem to be well trained. Even flashing a weapon, a branded armed weapon at a civilian, do I have to show every single one? Do I have to show every video? It's bad. I'm getting tipsters sending me videos of citizens being arrested, just sitting there. Like, now maybe they blew a whistle before or whatever. Like, but getting arrested for blowing whistles, they're not really stopping ICE that much, right? Now, domestic news is being dominated in Minnesota. Something lost in all this craziness and scariness is the Maduro raid. I was talking with the police officers about this too. I mean, wow. And after reading some of the reports, we now get a picture of how it went down. 21st century warfare is impressive and scary. Drones and sonic weapons, right? Like, you don't have to believe me. I say this often on Divide America. Go read. I got this from Fox News. Out of all of the news outlets, New York Post, Fox News, they came out with it early, and you're going to see it starting to trickle out from other news outlets that they were hovering helicopters, and they had some sort of sonic weapons that you have to read the reports from the Venezuelan army that they were paralyzed. And I just think of Stranger Things. I think of sci-fi. I think of the sonic weapons that they use against the Hulk in Marvel. I think of all the stuff that we've probably seen in sci-fi that we have been working on behind the scenes. I can't imagine what we have, but it's impressive. It's downright impressive. I think we do have to give our on the tip of the cap, the hats off, whatever you want to say to the U.S. military for what they did. That it's beyond impressive. Now, reckless speculation time. Those of you know, I love Dan Le Batard, his show. It's very journalistic. I try to make this journalistic. Sometimes I recklessly speculate. This is going to be me recklessly speculating. What about those mysterious injuries that happened in Cuba recently? Someone recently, very close to me, said, it's like, what about those injuries in Cuba? What happened there? And then I said, oh, here we go. There's the speculation. What if we were developing our weapons in Guantanamo or somewhere around there? Now, again, just speculating. No, I have no reporting on that whatsoever. But I mean, it's just kind of impressive that the lack of injuries that our forces took, and how quickly and easily they took a president out. Now, if they could do that to that country, why wouldn't they do it to Netanyahu and Putin, right? Like, I think we know the answer to that, but just saying that we showed some pretty strong capabilities of our military. Speaking of how good our military is, I have a very, I don't want to say viral reel on Facebook, but it's people love to say we should be bombing the hell out of the boats, right? That's, blow up Han Solo. Han Solo was a smuggler. So, just imagine Han Solo flying away and boom. Well, he had spice. He had drugs. He was a domestic narco terrorist, right? Well, we're learning more about the strikes on these boats, and there is a term called perfidy. If you've never heard of it, it is defined by the International Humanitarian Law databases as acts inviting the confidence of an adversary to lead him to believe he is entitled to or obliged to accord protection under the rules of international law applicable in armed conflict with intent to betray that confidence. Word salad, but in pop culture terms, don't red wedding people during war. That's what that translates to, right? So our government wouldn't break the international law, right? That's what they say. We're always following international law, international law. Look up the news today. Don't just take my advice. Don't just take my word for it. Perfidy is going to be in the zeitgeist today because it looks like our government might be committing it. I don't have the report, but the New York Times does. And they've been pretty accurate over the past, I don't know, 100 years. The patriots in charge believe in the Constitution, but they would never break the law, right? They wouldn't attack police, right? Now, again, I have another segment on the live portion for YouTube. It's going to be an interview with Jake Tapper.
So there were a few points of contention in my interview with Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem this morning, such as when I asked her why she didn't wait for a full and complete investigation before she asserted that the ICE officer in question did nothing wrong.
Well, everything that I've said has been proven to be factual and the truth. This administration wants to operate in transparency. I have the responsibility as the Secretary of Homeland Security to know this information as soon as possible. Had just been in Minneapolis the day before, had already had conversations with officers on the ground and supervisors and knew the facts and decided that the department and the people of this country deserve to know the truth of the situation of what had unfolded in Minneapolis.
I then pointed out that, in point of fact, not everything that she had said about the matter was accurate.
With all due respect, Secretary, the first thing you said was, quote, what happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and rammed them with her vehicle. That's not what happened. We all saw what happened.
It absolutely is what happened.
I also asked her about the rules of law enforcement when officers feel as though their lives are being threatened, specifically about.
Point is, Kristi Noem, all of them saying, don't attack the police, don't attack the police, don't attack the police. They all did it on January 6th, and we're not going to remember it. That's why I say access journalism is a theme here. I would love to interview Ice Barbie, but I can't, right? She won't talk to me. She wouldn't want to answer my questions. Jake did a great job refuting her. And if you do watch on YouTube, the more production value, you'll see the ticker on the bottom. And it says, questioning the American Taliban. Now, where am I going with this, right? At what point can we start calling these supposed border agents who are protecting us from an invasion, right? They're protecting us from whoever's invading us. If you guys can tell me who's invading us, let me know. Robbie Roadster, just yesterday or the day before, he's a very, very popular figure on social media. He was arrested for singing. I have that video that I'm going to show right here. Where is Robbie?
All right, they're not ready for primetime players. You got your super soakers, you got your fucking baloney. Where are we going? We want us over here? Oh, we got the power march. What are we doing here? Back up! Oh,
That doesn't look like America to me. What did he do wrong? Just being there? Please explain this to me. Because if I flew to Minnesota right now to try to cover this shit, they're going to just toss me in jail for standing there, for recording? It's a powerful scene in a not so popular show that I wanted to share with everyone here today, considering its prevalence and its forethought. I bring pop culture all the time to this show. Jeff Daniels did a hell of a job in the newsroom, and it's not the scene that you're thinking. It's not the first scene. It's a scene where he goes in on his own political party. My old political party. What the hell is going on?
I am not, however, ashamed to say that I am a Republican. And that brings us to tonight's second story. I'm what the leaders of the Tea Party would call a rhino, Republican in name only. And that's ironic, because that's exactly what I think about the leaders of the Tea Party, because the most conservative Republicans today aren't Republicans. Republicans believe in a prohibitive military. We believe in a common sense government, and that there are social programs enacted in the last half century that work, but there are way too many costing way too much that don't. And we believe in the rule of law and order and free market capitalism. The Tea Party believes in loving America, but hating Americans. Tea Party Congressman Alan West of Florida. I must confess, when I see anyone with an Obama bumper sticker, I recognize them as a threat to the gene pool. They believe in loving America, but hating its government. Conservative activist Grover Norquist.
I don't want to abolish government. I simply want to reduce it to the size where I could drag it into the bathroom and drown it in the bathtub.
And they believe that anyone who disagrees with the Tea Party has sinister anti-American motives.
The objective of the liberals is to destroy this country. The objective of the liberals is to make America mediocre.
Most of all, you must never, under any circumstance, seek to reach a compromise with your opponent, or do any of what Democrats and genuine Republicans both call governing. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell.
Our top political priority over the next 2 years should be to deny President Obama a second term.
And one other plank in the Tea Party platform. If you're poor, it means you're either too lazy or too stupid to be rich. Here's Andre Bauer, Tea Party leader and Lieutenant Governor of South Carolina. My grandmother was not a highly educated woman, but she told me as a small child to quit feeding stray animals. You know why? Because they breed. It's almost hard to believe Republicans can't get Dorothy Cooper to vote for them. During Tea Party rallies and campaign speeches, we've been told that America was founded as a Christian nation, and that if the Founding Fathers were here today, they'd tell us so. Here's John Adams in the Treaty of Tripoli. As the government of the United States is not, in any sense, founded on the Christian religion. And here's Thomas Jefferson, that our civil rights have no dependence on our religious opinions. And here's the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. What's more frightening than the perversion of our great history is that sensible, smart, strong Republicans, the very men and women who should be standing up to radical fundamentalism, are so frightened of losing primary battles to religious zealots that they've thrown in the towel on sanity. So we get this.
Yes, that the Constitution established the United States of America as a Christian nation.
It's ironic because the biggest enemy of the phony Republican isn't Nancy Pelosi or Harry Reid or Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. It's this man. He said, heal the sick, feed the hungry, care for the weakest among us, and always pray in private. Ideological purity compromises weakness, a fundamentalist belief in scriptural literalism, denying science, unmoved by facts, undeterred by new information, a hostile fear of progress, a demonization of education, a need to control women's bodies, severe xenophobia, tribal mentality, intolerance of dissent, and a pathological hatred of the U.S. government. They can call themselves the Tea Party, they can call themselves conservatives, and they can even call themselves Republicans, though Republicans certainly shouldn't. But we should call them what they are, the American Taliban. And the American Taliban cannot survive if Dorothy Cooper is allowed to vote.
Pretty powerful, huh? Show wasn't watched enough. I know it went off the rails at times, but stuff like that, it really resonates with me. And we're going to end this first longer segment with a quote from an almost 9-year-old who's watching Stranger Things for the first time. And he saw the government breaking into one of the homes in Hawkins. He starts screaming, "Do you have a warrant to look through that house?" It's amazing what a book about civil rights can do for a little one's education. Thank you, John Lewis. Thank you for the good trouble. Like I said, this first segment was way longer than expected, but this has been really near and dear to me. We're going to come back with a short second segment to end the show. We talk about amendments here often. First, Fourth, 14th. We're going directly into the Second Amendment in this next segment. Stick around. We're going to be right back. Stay back. Now, as I said, I should have got water before this show, so I apologize. This is going to be Siska Shares time for this second segment. And it's a long story, George time. So it's going to be a lot of full context. There's a lot of nuance in a lot of stories, because in this day and age, nuance gets lost. I was walking. Some of you know Chewy, right? Some of you have followed my social media, have known my beagle. Excuse me. And I walk him daily around the neighborhood, and I unfortunately walked him onto my neighbor's yard. I didn't know that my neighbor did not want a dog on his yard. Didn't know. But when you approach someone with screaming, it just doesn't work, right? Like if you let the person know nicely, like other neighbors have, no problem. I'll keep them off your yard. Don't yell at me. Don't threaten my life. Yeah, I had my life threatened somewhat recently by a probably 80-year-old man, 75, 80-year-old man. He's not really too worried about him, but it made me think about protection, safety, and our amendments. I haven't fired a gun since Iraq. I mean, yeah, I think, Iraq was the last time I fired a weapon. So it's been 20 some odd years, and I felt like it's time. I felt like it's this day and age. I thought I would want to teach my wife, my kids. My dad taught me how to shoot. The Army didn't teach me. My dad taught me, right? We had learned way before basic training. So I wanted to get a personal weapon, Micro 9, very small 9mm. Just in case Nutso that lives across the street decides to, I don't know what he has, right? He's a Vietnam vet, and he threatened my life. He said, quote, "Do you know what we did to guys like you in Vietnam?" That's a death threat to me, and I did something that I shouldn't have done. I went to the police, and I know better. I should have known better. My last name is synonymous with crime in New York City. I have nothing to do with it, but it's just the way it is. Excuse me. So when I applied for my blue card, which is what's required in Rhode Island, and I got my blue card because I took the test, it was simple, and then I bought the weapon. I was cleared by the federal government, and then I was told by the local police department that I was not allowed to own a weapon. And I said, "What? What are you talking about?" They said, because I mentioned, remember I said how I called the police on my neighbor? Because I mentioned I have PTSD from the war. They will not allow me to have a weapon for whatever reason, right? They want to go through 20 years of medical records. It's not happening. It's just that you're not 20 years of a fishing expedition just to see if I said one bad thing at one point, just so you can deny me again. Now, Chief Benson, I emailed you nicely multiple times. and you're sticking with your computer says no answer. And followers of my show know what computer says no means, right? Did you want to have the conversation about, like, you would rather go through my medical files than have a conversation with your recently retired lieutenant that just left the force recently. Had a conversation with him recently too. And he said, quote, "You seem to know firearms more than most of the people on the force." Well, imagine that. 'Cause my dad taught me, I learned. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that a Micro 9 isn't used for offense, right? If I wanted to do something offensively, I wouldn't have bought a Micro 9. I would have bought something that's sadly legally allowed on our streets. The same gun shop that I tried to buy the 9 at had what I would deem weapons of war, and I can do a lot of damage with that. I don't want that. I wanted a Micro 9. It's tiny. It's like 4 or 7 shot. I wanted to teach my wife, because she's never shot a weapon ever. I can't imagine never shooting. And I want to teach my kids how to shoot eventually. Or just to understand that if a weapon's around, so that and they don't freeze. Because that's the main thing, is it's safety. It's understanding that the safety's on, or there's a safety right there for that, or just don't touch it, right? Report it. But the police didn't ask. They didn't ask what my PTSD was about. They didn't ask if it was about the mortars that came in nightly, right? Or the small arms fire that happened on August 14th, 2003. It's amazing that the things that you can remember. It's because my friend's 21st birthday, we got booze in Bakuba, and we made sure that he was able to celebrate his 21st birthday. Ricky, I'm sure you remember that. Now, I asked the police department for the incident report to see what I said that would make them so worried about me, right? Because that's what they're worried about. The police department's worried about me, where I'm worried about my neighbor. The police ain't going to get here in time. My neighbor starts shooting up the house, or starts, they will never get here in time. And there'll be more dead people, right, to gun violence. Why? Because we're not allowed to protect ourselves. And this is where I really break with the Democratic Party. Like, people who know me, like, I'm, right? You guys like to call me liberal, blah, blah, blah. Like, you guys don't know me. You guys really don't. This is the Second Amendment. But the good thing is there's a very large paper trail. Because I've emailed all this to the town. And if my neighbor does do something to me, or if something happens to us, my wife will be able to sue, because we were not deemed worthy to protect ourselves. When I asked them for the report, they said it's for my privacy, and they will not release the report. I don't give a crap about my privacy. Release the damn report. Like, you're trying to go through, you'd rather dig through my records like I'm a perp than release a report of me reporting on that the jackass that made the death threat. But no, it's liberal Rhode Island. All right, we're ending with that. I want to thank some of you, all the followers, really. But like, I've been meeting some people in the wild recently. People that told me they watched stuff that I didn't even know they were watching. They said, yes, they've watched every single one of my videos, and I was flabbergasted. And I can't thank you guys enough. I can't thank everybody enough. I did post this yesterday. I am working on getting World Cup credentials. I think being able to covering sports is a dream. I wanted to cover the Patriots yesterday. Couldn't do it. The Patriots are playing next week. Can't do that. But Foxborough is going to have the World Cup. I'm coming. I'm trying. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I will talk to you guys next week. Keep following the socials. Keep liking, subscribing, following, sharing. All of this is allowing me to be able to do this for us. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Take care.